Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatrupatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dhinatan. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadamkitam Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyatya Deshatari वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोस्तुते। सप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधरा शिवासादि गौरभक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। Let's start sharing. You can see my screen, yeah?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. Chapter 15, the Yoga of the Supreme Person, 10th verse. Uktramantam stitam vapi bhunjanam va gunanvitam vimudhananupashyante pashyanti jnana chakshusa. Anyone want to recite? Yes, Mataji, please.
Yeah. Utkramantam stitam vapi bhunjanam va gunanvitam vimudhananupashyanti jnana chakshushaha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of the modes of nature. But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Anyone wants to do purport?
Mataji, can I? Hema Malini here.
Yeah, sure.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In other words, if the living entity adulterates his consciousness with the qualities of cats and dogs, in his next life, he gets a cat or a dog body and enjoys. Consciousness is originally pure, like water. But if we mix water with a certain color, it changes. Similarly, consciousness is pure, for the spirit soul is pure. But consciousness is changed according to the association of the material qualities. Real consciousness is Krishna consciousness. When therefore one is situated in Krishna's consciousness, he is in his pure life. But if his consciousness is adulterated by some type of material mentality, in the next life he gets a corresponding body. He does not necessarily get a human body again. He can get the body of a cat, dog, hog, demigod, or one of many other forms, for there are 84 lakh species. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna for reading nicely, Mataji. So this section where we are at is that, we are trying to understand now, how, transmigration of these living entities are happening, how it is Jiva's future is determining. So Krishna has described, initially that identity of the living entity. How did he do in the 7th verse? He's just telling that, all living entities in this world, they're all eternal, my eternal fragmental parts, he said. And then due to our conditioning, we are struggling very hard. We are getting in contact with this material nature, identifying ourselves like we are the body, like that, and then entangled with these three modes of material nature, which we elaborately learned in the 14th chapter. And then Krishna said that we are struggling very hard with the material nature, with the six senses, including mind. So elaborately how these jivas are carrying these senses and how we are struggling in this material nature in this world. Krishna explained, and change of bodies also went, how we are changing from different bodies, from one body to another, just like, just like air carries the aromas, like that, So there is a rose plant here, you smell a rose, near to the rose plant, you will smell the rose. So that air is taking through that flavor, that fragrance of the rose plant, a rose fragrance to you, to your nostrils, like that. So anything we cook in our kitchen or whatever we do, that air is carrying through. So like that, our mind is carrying through our with all the desires and whatever we want to, carrying through the different body, like that, taking us to our gross body is taking us like that. So jiva obtaining a new body, getting ears, nose, tongues, everything new thing, new body is coming, and then we are enjoying with the sense object. This was happening, but initially, the consciousness of all of us is pure. It is like water, just like how you see the clear crystal water. It is like that, our consciousness. But when you're mixing up with this material nature, entangled with this three modes, with a lot of goodness, passion, and ignorance, different variegatedness of propensities we may get into, and then according to our association, also we tend to get those kind of dominance of the modes into our life. Then what happens? The consciousness will get contaminated. It is not like any more clear water. It will just as if you mix a water with some other colors to an artist make some nice painting, and then he has to color it. He has to mix a color with some water, and then he will paint it. But he has to make a different shade, then he has to mix with different colors, and then give that new look or new shade to the painting. So like that, what happens now? We are also getting contact with this material nature, our consciousness getting contaminated, and then it's changing. And with the association with these three modes, we are, getting into different bodies. So soul is transmigrating like that. We already learned the soul has no birth, no death. We cannot cut, soul will not die. So you cannot cut into pieces. You cannot burn. All this we have learned in second chapter about that, right? So the transmigration of soul is happening. That is what this verse is telling, that, this quitting of the body and staying in a body is just, enjoying under this, spell of this material nature, is just consider that, you are like a foolish person trying to understand this is happening like that. So we should have that jnana chakshusa. That's what Prabhupada says in the purport. We should train our eyes with the knowledge to see all this. Foolish cannot understand how these living beings are quitting his body, nor they don't understand what sort of body they enjoy in future. Like that, they are not having proper understanding, poor fund of knowledge that make them to go to different bodies, unfortunately. So once we get trained in knowledge, we can see what is going to, like we all can, design our future. We look forward, like, all of us, we see children or others when we were young also, we know certain passion, we have certain desires, we want to become like these, and we want to, go to college or do certain subjects and then get to some degree and then achieve that and do some that kind of work. So this and all was there, each step we were doing something according to our desire to achieve something. So similarly, we have this body, with this body also we need to plan something, so that what kind of body we have to get in future, the next life we do have to get. After all, we know 8.4 million species are there. Do you want to become one among them, or you want to really get to that real constitutional position where your consciousness is pure, and then all this contamination of consciousness should be cleansed? All this, we can, with the knowledge we all can understand. So Prabhupada says that jnana chakshusha is very significant in this aspect. Without knowledge, you cannot understand how living entities are moving from one body to another body and going to the next life, and even getting a particular type of body. That requires a great amount of knowledge. So some people, then the Bhagavad Gita is giving this information for us, and then through a bona fide spiritual master only we can get to know this knowledge, like that. Jnana chakshusa is like, what we say, Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. We say that's what, a guru is a person who actually, self-realized soul. And then he cut through our ignorance and gives us the knowledge. So touch bit of knowledge is being given through Guru in the parampara, in disciplic succession, like that. So one who is trained to perceive these things, they are very fortunate. Prabhupada says. So every living entity is quitting this body under various circumstances, and they are getting into different bodies also. So suffering of different kinds of, suffering is also a result of, distress or happiness. Everything is different result of what we are carrying forward, like that. So Prabhupada says that persons who are everlastingly fooled by lust and desire, they don't understand the change of body, and they stay in this particular body, or they cannot comprehend this, like that. So wasting their time, shrama he vai kevalam, whatever they are doing in this material world, if they are not thinking about how to think about where to get a, to that position where we can be there eternally for good without getting into these four miseries, four problems, common problems. Who knows this four common problems? I'm asking a basic question, but I hope you all know that all living entities have that four basic problems. Yeah, so we have that. So like that, so fools cannot understand that this is, every one of us is having these problems. Yeah. So, but we can see that, we are, the spirit is different from the body, like that. Yeah. So a person in this knowledge, whoever has got, they understand this, conditioned living entity is suffering. Therefore, someone who is, having in Krishna consciousness, with this, the kind of study group we are trying to do, study the scriptures together, we understand this knowledge is important for us to get, and then get rid of this, troublesome conditioned life. So then you can come out of it and then be Krishna conscious, like that. So we have to become literate to liberate, like that, Krishna conscious and liberate themselves. So first you have to know what literature is saying to us, understand the philosophy, and then imbibe that philosophy, and get your own realizations when you read the philosophy, and then apply it. When you are applying, you are reading, when you are applying, you will have realizations, and then you will be sharing with others also. Like that you will get liberate, and then contamination of the heart, the soul will go, heart will go. Slowly, you will be liberating yourself to transfer to the spiritual world. That's what Prabhupada is telling. So we need to have those eyes of knowledge to see each and everything, to understand that why we are moving this, even. Yeah, so even Prabhupada, even in material world, even just to enjoy anything also, it's not possible without the help of the Lord. So one have to develop that consciousness that even living in this material world also, it's just Krishna's mercy. We should appreciate. He is the maintainer of this whole world. He is giving that in this verse. So we are trying to understand that, how Krishna is providing everything for us, but we need to train our mind, or, train ourselves to get this knowledge, so that we understand how we are changing from one body to another body, how this conditioning is so troublesome that, we are going through this birth, death, old age, disease so many times, life after life. And then, different kinds of happiness, distress also we are facing and suffering throughout our life, but we should understand that we are actually not enjoying here, we are suffering in this material world. So we can liberate from this material world through gaining knowledge. We can come out.
Academic activity.
Yes, Prabhuji. Something you want to say, or okay. Anyone has any questions? I think Prabhu is on. Can anyone mute them, or okay? So anyone has any questions in this verse?
No, Mataji.
No,
We'll just go to the next verse.
Yes, Mataji.
यतन्तो योगिनश्चैनं पश्यन्ति आत्मनि अवस्थितं यतन्तो हि अपि अकृत्मानो नैनं पश्यन्ति अचेतसाः. Sudha Mataji, you want to read?
Yes, Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Yatanto yoginaschainam pasyantyaatmanyavasthitam yatanto vyakratatmano nainam pasyantya chetasaha. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The endeavoring transcendentalists who are situated in self-realization can see all this clearly. But those whose minds are not developed and who are not situated in self-realization cannot see what is taking place, though they may try to. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. There are many transcendentalists on the path of spiritual self-realization, but one who is not situated in self-realization cannot see how things are changing in the body of the living entity. The word yogina is significant in this connection. In the present day, there are so many called yogis and there are so many so-called associations of yogis, but they are actually blind in the matter of self-realization. They are simply addicted to some sort of gymnastic exercise and are satisfied if the body is well built and healthy. They have no other information. They are called yatanto vyakratatmana. Even though they are endeavoring in a so-called yoga system, they are not self-realized. Such people cannot understand the process of the transmigration of the soul. Only those who are actually in the yoga system and have realized the self, the world, and the Supreme Lord, in other words, the Bhakti yogis, those engaged in pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness, can understand how things are taking place. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So here again, Prabhupada is connecting it, who can and who can't, why, who cannot see and why they cannot see. This is, who cannot see that, we are like, trying to, those, the not trained in knowledge, let's say people who are not trained in knowledge, they're ignorant. Now, what is the cure of those people who are ignorant? Like, and Krishna says that cure of it is knowledge. Now, there is those who are trained can see all it clearly because their minds are trained, and then by the practice, hmm, continuous regular practice, and they situated in that spiritual self-realization. So there are many transcendentalists on the path that the endeavoring transcendentalists who are situated in self-realization can see all this clearly. What they can see all this clearly, how this transformation of the bodies are happening, and what is it which is making it to us to go through like that. This is because they are trained in knowledge, and then whoever is not trained in considered as ignorant. But those whose minds are developed and who are not situated in self-realization, they cannot see what is taking place. So even if they try, but they don't have this knowledge, then it's hard for them. But those whose minds are not developed, it's hard for them. So that's why Prabhupada says that here so many yogis in the society, they are there, and they are they are blind by self-realization. That means they are like what he said is they're simply doing some kind of yoga gymnastics. Means like we have so many yoga classes or yoga schools these days. They just do some bodily postures and movements and physical things they do, but that is not helping them throughout to understand this subject matter. So they are just trying to do some Prabhupada says gymnastics like that, present day yogis. But then if you get associated with them, then you will be blind in this matter of self-realization. So simply you're doing that just to satisfy your body and make your body beauty, or make men can young people, they may want to build their strength in their body like that. So but no other extra information they are getting, and there is no other institutes also in in the material world who can teach us this to get there. So fortunately we have this our Krishna conscious movement, where we are, this institute which Prabhupada has built for us, where everywhere we have got Shastric study in detail, reading the scriptures which all Prabhupada has given us. So through that we understand how we can not go through all this kind of 8.4 million species, and try to understand the rare opportunity of this human form of life and what's the goal of it. We try to establish and that relationship with the Lord and try to attain the goal. Yeah. So these are, they are called, whoever is just doing this gymnastic kind of exercises and not able to understand this without, with the poor, because of the ignorant situation, they are all called etantopi akrutatmanaha means they are endeavoring, but so-called yoga system, they are doing it. They are not getting self-realized. So self-realization is way far to them, not nowhere anyway in their path like that. Such people, they cannot understand the transmigration of the soul. So only those who are actually in yoga system, that is, according to, us, bhakti yoga is one which is, helps us to realize ourselves that we are not the body, we are the soul. So that, in other words, Prabhupada says bhakti yogis, those who engage in devotional service in Krishna consciousness, they understand how things are taking place. So in future verses, Prabhupada even more explains that how this, this and all, it understanding about how the soul transmigration is happening, who can and who cannot see is what is described here. But in next few verses, Krishna will, Krishna, helps us to understand how he is maintaining the whole thing so that we can understand with our knowledge to see. Shastra Chakshu will come to us so that Krishna is maintaining it not only at entire universal level, cosmic level, but also how at the personal level also he will let us know through the next few verses to understand better that knowledge aspect is important. These yogis are, bhakti yogis are actual yogis, not those pseudo yogis or other yoga school people who are teaching us some yoga postures. They are not giving us to understand what is self-realization like that. Yeah. So because they cannot see anything, only bhakti yogas can see things as they are, because this knowledge is imparted through the disciplic succession, through the parampara, and then it is being proven, and all of the, all the rishis are also accepted, Sapta rishis, and all the Deva, Narada, Asita, Devala, Vyasa, everyone, they are all accepted in this parampara. So we also accept that, then we will be able to get their mercy, and through their mercy we understand, the process of devotion service is important, and that will, establish us in Krishna consciousness to understand better how this bhakti yoga is the linking ourselves with the Lord will work. That is what, we'll understand. So only bhakti yogas are qualified to see things, and then they understand how migration happens and why they shouldn't go through all this like that. Yeah. So shall we go to the next one, or anyone has any questions or anything to ask or share? Hope it's all clear, no? We go to the next one.
Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, sorry.
No, sorry, Mataji. Okay, you can tell, Mataji, it's okay.
You want to ask a question or?
No, about the sloka, Mataji.
Okay, yeah. You want to recite? You can recite, Mataji, if you want.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. Pranam. Yada dityagatam tejo jagadbhasayate akhilam yaschandramasi yakchagnau tattejo vidimamakam. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The splendor of the sun, which dissipates the darkness of this whole world, comes from me, and the splendor of the moon and the splendor of the fire are also from me. Should I read the purport or somebody else wants to?
If someone else is there, Padma Mataji, you want to read the purport?
Yeah, I don't mind. Anybody wants also can.
You are the one who is reading, sorry. Anyone else wants to read also can read.
Hare Krishna Mataji, may I?
Yes, please, Mataji.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Purport. The unintelligent cannot understand how things are taking place, but one can begin to be established in knowledge by understanding what the Lord explained here. Everyone sees the sun, moon, fire, and electricity. One should simply try to understand that the splendor of the sun, the
Splendor.
Sorry, Mataji.
Splendor.
Sorry. Splendor of the moon and the splendor of the electricity or fire are coming from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In such a conception of life, the beginning of Krishna consciousness lies great deal of advancement from the for the conditioned soul in this material world. For living entities are essentially the parts and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and He is giving here with the hint how they can come back to Godhead, back to home. From this verse, we can understand that the sun is illuminating the whole solar system. There are different universes and solar systems, and there are different suns, moons, and planets also. But in each universe, there is only sun. There is only sun, as mm, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 10.21. The moon is one of the star. Nakshatra.
Pranam aham shashi.
Nakshatra Nama Aham Sashi. Sunlight is due to the spiritual effulgence in the spiritual sky of the Supreme Lord. With the rise of sun, the activities of human being are set up. Mm, they set fire to prepare their foodstuff. They set fire to start the factories, etc. So many things are done with the help of fire. Therefore, sunrise, fire, and moonlight are pleasing to the living entities. Without their help, no living entity mm, mm, can live. So if
Live.
one can understand that the light and splendor of the sun, moon, and fire are emanating from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Then once Krishna consciousness will begin. By the moonshine, all the vegetables are nourished. The moonshine is so pleasing that people can easily understand that they are living by the mercy of the Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna. Without His mercy, there cannot be sun. Without His mercy, there cannot be moon, and without their mercy, there cannot be fire. And without the help of sun, moon, and fire, no one can live there. There are some thoughts to provoke Krishna conscious in the conditioned soul. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah. Dhanavad Pranam. So here Krishna is, making us to understand through this verse that how Krishna is maintaining at the cosmic level, how things are happening. And and it helps us to understand Krishna's position as a maintainer of this world. So here, the splendor of the sun. So the sun which dissipates the darkness of this whole world is coming from me. That's what Krishna is telling. And also the splendor of the moon, which is, splendor of the fire, also coming from me. So unintelligent people, they cannot understand how things are taking place because they are totally ignorant. They don't have proper knowledge, and they don't have that understanding that they have to, get this knowledge also. So one can begin to establish this knowledge, whatever Lord is telling here, what He is explaining. By understanding this, one can, try to get to establish this knowledge. So it is, acknowledging or beginning to appreciate that Lord's hand is there in everything. So this is the first thing which we need to have, that, understanding that, seeing that Lord's hand is there in everything. And then, it says everyone sees there is a sun, moon, fire, and electricity is there. One should simply try to understand that this sunlight is coming, moonlight is coming, that electricity, fire, everything is coming from Supreme Lord. Nothing is provided. Sunlight is provided free of cost. Actually, moonlight is also provided free of cost. All the facilities have been provided. If you think about the fire, or think about the electricity in your home, first thing in the morning you get up, or you want to do something when it comes to making boga to the Lord, or this, or even you want to operate your electricity related things, air con, AC, or heater. In our place we need heater now, it's very cold. So these kind of things, you have to depend on electricity, and then, depend on gas to get this thing. And it will not get free of cost. You have to pay for that. But sunlight, moonlight, you're getting, it's Krishna's mercy you're getting. And this electricity and then all that also, gas, this and all, because of this, all other facility provide, Krishna is providing all that necessities for us. The intelligent people are trying to, generate those things, electricity, gas, or and supplying through this pipeline, all that we are getting it. But we should not forget that, the main thing is Krishna's hand behind it. His position as a maintainer, and he's providing all of that. We should not forget it. Yeah. So in that is a conception of like beginning to understand that Krishna consciousness, it's our advancement comes to that when we understand the hand of Lord, and then then in this conditioned soul, in this material world, what type of things we are trying to do independently, like that. So living entities are essentially part and parcel of the Lord, and He is giving everything for us. And then He is also giving us this hint to how they came back to God, how to come back to Godhead, like that, back to home, like that. So with this verse, what we have to understand is that sun is illuminating the whole solar system. Entire universes are illuminated by the sun. Entire planets are illuminated by the moon. In each and every universe, there is a sun. And then each and every universe, there is a moon. And then this sunlight effulgence is in the spiritual sky. We have heard in the 8th verse, right? Anyone remember what we heard in the verse where where there is, we don't need 8th verse, right? 6th verse, qualities of the spiritual world. What is it said in this chapter only? 6th verse says that natat bhashayate suryo na shashanko na bhavaka yadgatvana nivartante tadama paramam, like that. The spiritual world characteristics, qualities of the spiritual world we saw. How Krishna Loka, in that it's not illuminated by sunlight, not illuminated by moonlight, nor fire, nor electricity. Those who reach there, they will never return back to this material world. And also, that is the supreme abode of everybody's. Naturally, it's a supreme Lord's place. And then Jiva in that constitutional position, Jivera Sarupa Hai, Nityera Krishna Dasa. In that position, they will be there, and you don't need sunlight, moonlight, electricity, or fire. But in this material world, we need all that. And Krishna is providing for us all that in this material world. Without sunlight, we can't see that, here we get sunlight only after night. But we have to get up and start doing our activities. And then, Prabhupada says, set up fire to prepare foodstuff, set up fire to start, factories. So things will be done with the help of fire. So sunlight, moonlight is pleasing to living entities, because without that, their help, no living entity can provide. Live. Yeah. Who can live without the, sunlight is providing us, because of that sunlight, we will do lots of things. And then because of the rainfall, we get grains. Because of the moonlight, the juice will come to the vegetables. And because of the sunlight, what happens? If there is a flower bud, if it has to blossom, sunlight has to come. And then we have to get up, then sunlight has to come. So we know it is now time to get up and do our day-to-day activities. So each and everything is activated by sunlight, and each and everything is nourished by moonlight also. So that we understand this is all coming from Supreme Lord only, Krishna. So from there, Krishna consciousness begins, just appreciating the hand of the Lord, like that. So by moonshine, all the vegetables are nourished. So moonshine is important, pleasing to people. Easily understand the mercy of the Lord there. So without mercy of the Lord, sun cannot give sunlight, moon cannot give moonlight. It's only under their directions they are working, sun god and moon god are working as an agents to the Lord, and they are providing all these facilities for us, which we cannot think of living without them. So these are some of the thought-provoking things that where we can see Krishna's hand in each and everything, where Krishna consciousness is affecting this conditioned soul. How we are able to accept that Krishna's position as a maintainer of this world. So like that is mainly describing in this verse by Srila Prabhupada. So. So hope it is clear to all of you, this verse. Just accepting the position of the Lord as a maintainer is the main thing, the key thing to understand.
Yes, Mataji.
No questions, right? Straightforward. Go to the 13th now. No one will deny that fact anyway, isn't it?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah. Okay, we do the 13th. घामाविश्य च भूतानि धारयामि अहमोजसा पुष्यामि चौदसी सर्वा सोमो भूत्वा रसात्मकः. Anyone wants to recite the verse and translation?
Yes, Mataji. Can I?
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Prabhu.
Dhamavishya cha bhutani dharayamya mojasa pushnami chaushadi sarvaha some bhutva rasatmakaha. Translation. I enter into each planet and by my energy they stay in orbit. I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of life to all vegetables. Perfect. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It is understood that all the planets are floating in the air only by the energy of the Lord. The Lord enters into every atom, every planet, every living being. That is discussed in the Brahma Samhita. It is said that there one plenty portion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Paramatma, enters into the planets, the universes, the living entity, and even into the atom. So, due to his entrance, everything is approximately manifested. When the spirit soul is there, living man can float on the water. But when the living spark is out of the body and the body is dead, the body sinks. Of course, when it is decomposed, it floats just like straw and other things. But as soon as the man is dead, he at once sinks in the water. Similarly, all the planets are floating in space, and this is due to the entrance of the supreme energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His energy is sustaining each planet just like a handful of dust. If someone holds a handful of dust, there is no possibility of the dust falling. But if one throws it in the air, it will fall down. Similarly, these planets which are floating in the air are actually held in the first of the universal form of the Supreme Lord. By his strength and energy, all moving and non-moving things stay in their place. It is said in the Vedic hymns that because of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the sun is shining and the planets are steadily moving. Were it not for him, all the planets would scatter like dust in air and perish. Similarly, it is due to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is the moon nourishes all vegetables. Due to the moon's influence, the vegetables become delicious. Without the moonshine, the vegetables can neither grow nor taste succulent. Human society is working, living comfortably and enjoying food due to the supply from the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, mankind could not survive. The word rasatmakaha is very significant. Everything becomes palatable by the agency of the Supreme Lord through the influence of the moon. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So here Prabhupada is clearly giving us the information how, Supreme Lord is, so merciful that he's entering into each and every planet. And then, his energy is sustaining this, all of us, all the living entities. And, he's staying in that orbit. And then he's telling, I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of all life to all vegetables, like that. So it is understood that, Supreme Lord is there in every planet, and, all the planets are floating in the air by the energy of the Lord. It is described in detail in Bhagavatam that Lord enters to each and every planet, atom, planet, living being, everything. There are 3 super souls. One super soul is for the whole Brahmanda, cosmic material manifestation, whole cosmic manifestation is there, as a Garbho, the Karanodakshaya Vishnu. And then after that, when all the, universes are emanating from the skin pores, from the inhaling and exhaling process of the Mahavishnu, all the universes, innumerable universes are coming up. And then in that innumerable universe, each universe, he gets seen to as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So for the cosmic manifestation, entire cosmic manifestation, the super soul is the Karunodakshaya Vishnu. And then for this each and every, innumerable universes, while he is entering in as a Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, that particular universe, he is a Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And then in that, after he enter there, from the navel, Brahma sprouts, and I mean, lotus sprouts from the lotus stem, and then, the Brahma appear, and then all the living entities are being, Brahma started creating with the, mantra Krishna has provided to him, Krishna has given him in his heart. All the living entities are being, created, and then each and every living entities, even into the atom, every living 8.4 million species, all of them, Krishna is entering as a Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. So like that, everyone is there, in as Brahma Samhita, it is quoted, Andantarastha Paramanu Chayantarastha. So he's there in each and every plenary portion of the Supreme Lord's, as a Paramatma, is entering into all the planets of the universe, the living entities, and even into the atom, like that. So his entrance is something which is giving us this energy. And then that is, manifested in a minute part and parcel, like that. So when a spirit soul is there, only we will have a consciousness in the body. When the spirit soul is gone from this body, just like how Prabhupada said in the purport, a living man can float on the water. You can do the swimming, or you can do the, the diving, or you can do whatever, scuba diving, or there's so many activities in water, right? If you do all this, it can be done only if you have the spirit soul in you, like that. When that little spark of that spirit soul is gone away from the body, it's dead. So what happens? The body will sink into the water. It won't float. So of course, because the body will decompose, and then it floats, just like how straw floats, like that. You can experiment. If you put a heavy thing in water, it will go into the water. If you put a lighter thing, it will float into the water. So, but this is what, so as soon as man is dead, he will at once sink into the water. Prabhupada is telling like that in the purport. So similarly, all these planets are floating in the space, in the material space. This is due to the Supreme Lord's energy is getting into those. Each and every planet, as you know, from Karanodakshaya to Garbhodakshaya to Kshirodakshaya, like that. So his energy is sustaining the entire planets, just like a handful of dust mentioned there. So if someone holds a handful of dust, there is no possibility of the dust falling. But if one throws it in the air, it will fall down. If you completely hold it in your grip, you can hold it nicely. It will not fall off like that. Unless you have a tendency to throw it. Similarly, these planets are floating in the air. They are in the fist of the Supreme Lords, like that, mentioning. So by the strength and energy only they are moving. All the moving and non-moving things are intact in that place, and then operating and functioning, because Supreme Lord is providing us all of this, as it is mentioned in the previous slide, sunlight, moonlight, fire, electricity is there, and they all disseminate the darkness of this world. Like that, Supreme Lord's energy is helping us to sustain all the living beings. And then, especially Srila Prabhupada emphasized on, Supreme Lord's, how he is giving, here, wherein, just like, due to moon nourishes all vegetables. Due to the moon's influence, all the vegetables are becoming delicious, tasty, like that. So moonshine is how it is important for us, because we all depend on our foodstuffs to eat, so that we, maintain our body, like that. So vegetables will not grow if there is no moonshine. Neither grow, or they don't even taste good also. So like that, human society is working. We are all enjoying the facilities provided by the Lord, and enjoying the food supplied by the Lord. So none of the mankind can survive without that, like that. The word rasatmakaha is very significant, means everything will become palatable. That is what, Lord is providing because of his mercy. By the agencies of the Lord, all this sun god, moon god, and Vayu, everyone is Agni, everyone is providing all the facilities by the mercy of the Lord to us. So he is maintaining like that, a cosmic level, he is doing like that. So next few verses will help us to understand what Krishna is doing to us in a personal level. This is all at the main in a macro level. Now micro level, what he will do, that also we will understand. So any questions or concerns in this verse?
Yeah, Mataji, this Karna Daksha Vishnu, he is lying in Karna ocean, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So this Shiro Daksha Vishnu, in which ocean does is he lying? When he enters,
Vishnu is
because-
actually in each and everyone's heart as a Paramatma creature. Because the Paramatma, it is a little bit technical to understand. For the Paramatma of the whole cosmic manifestation is Paramatma of that one each universe, like that millions of universes are there. That is that, Garbhodaksha. And then all the living entities, Paramatma is Shiva. Yeah? Clear?
okay, so there's no ocean or something that is, he becomes Paramatma in the heart.
Yes, that's
Okay,
right.
okay, Mataji. Yeah, okay, Mataji, thank you. Then what is Shir Sagar? Who's lying in that?
Mahavishnu.
Okay,
That's where
Mahavishnu.
Brahma goes with all the demigods to worship, right? Svetadvipa is there and there, Kshirodak. That is milk ocean.
Yeah. So they
So
are only
Rishi-
Narayan lies. Narayan lies in that.
Yeah. So Lord is there, resting there on Anantashesh, and then whenever problems comes to the demigods and they approach Brahma, and they will take to all of the demigods to that place, and he will recite Purusha Sukta prayers, and then he will, give the problems, and then, Vishnu will give all the solutions.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you,
Yeah.
Mataji. Understood. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So we'll go to the next one. 14. Aham Vaishnavo naro bhutva praninam dehamashritah pranapana samayuktah pachami annam chaturvidam. Anyone wants to recite the verse translation? Chandana Mataji, you want to
Hare
go?
Krishna.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, translation and purport.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, Hari Bol, Srila Prabhupada. Okay, text. Translation. 14. I am the fire of digestion in the bodies of all living entities. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. 15.14. Translation. I am the fire of digestion in the bodies of all living entities, and I join with the air of life, outgoing and incoming, to digest the 4 kinds of foodstuff. Purport. According to Ayurvedic Shastra,
We lost you, Mataji. Are you there?
yes, Mataji.
Yeah.
But the font is too small that like all letters are not
Is
coming.
it?
So I'm opening my book and reading.
Okay. I don't know how big I can make it.
Yeah,
Not
am I
sure.
audible? No, that's fine.
Yes, you are audible. You can read. Yeah, read.
From the book. Yeah. According to Ayurvedic Shastra, we understand that there is a fire in the stomach which digests all food sent there. When the fire is not blazing, there is no hunger. And when the fire is in order, we become hungry. Sometimes when the fire is not going nicely, treatment is required. In any case, this fire is representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vedic mantras Brihad Aranya Upanishad 5.9.1 also confirm that the Supreme Lord or Brahman is situated in the form of fire within the stomach and is digesting all kinds of foodstuff. I am Agir Vaishwanaro Yo Yam Antah Purushe Enidham Annam Pachyate. Therefore, since he is helping the digestion of all kinds of foodstuff, the living entity is not independent in the eating process. Unless the Supreme Lord helps in digesting, there is no possibility of eating. He thus produces and digests foodstuff, and by his grace, we are enjoying life. In the Vedanta Sutra 1.2.27, this is also confirmed. Sabdadibhyo taha pratishtana cha. The Lord is situated within sound, and within the body, within the air, and even within the stomach as the digestive force. There are 4 kinds of foodstuffs. Some are drunk, some are chewed, some are licked up, and some are sucked. And he is the digestive force for all of them.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. So here, what Krishna is saying, that he is a fire. He is actually fire in our digestive process. If there is no blazing fire of hungriness, then we don't feel like eating anything. So in order to feel hungry, the fire is there. So that fire is Krishna in the form of that fire is causing us to become hungry. And then, if that fire is not there nicely, we need treatment. Like that, indigestion is there. We have to take some medicine so that digestion happens, so that we feel hunger and our system runs properly, function properly. So fire is that this fire is representative of the Supreme Lord, like that. Yeah. So he's situated in that, and all the food, 4 types of foodstuffs are digested. Something which has to be chewed, something which has to be sipped, something which has to be licked, something which has to be sucked, like that. These and all requires a proper digestive system. So unless Supreme Lord helps us in digesting, not possible to eat. So think about it. Our system is not, just like that. I do hear sometimes some people have the problem to pass water. They can't, and because of that, they get into serious health issues. And then, some people will bloat, some people will be having problem to frequent going to pass water. These are all there within the body, which is like, nothing works without, even that functioning of the body. Scientifically, if you see, so much is there within our body. It is very hard for us to comprehend how Krishna has created this system. This whole our digestive system, or our whole metabolism, or how the body is functioning. It's so much of a technical thing. We can't understand just like that. And that is why, Krishna's hand is there. He's helping in this. I think it's so simple to digest, but it's not so easy without Krishna's help in digesting what he has provided us. So like that, even the scriptures also, we cannot digest without the help of a Supreme Lord's representative, who is in the form of a spiritual master. Similarly, without Krishna's, representative as a fire in our digestive process, all foodstuffs, whatever we eat, not possible. We think we are independent. Living entity is not independent in eating process only. How can we be independent in all other sense gratificatory activities? We are thinking like that minute independence Krishna has given, and we really forgetting everything and enjoying that independence and trying to, do it. But Krishna is telling everything that, this digestive process is also happening because I am representing as a fire and creating that hunger, and then helping to do that digesting. All 4 kinds of foodstuffs have been digested. So this is important thing for us to understand, that Lord is situated everywhere. And then, according to this Vedanta Sutra, he's situated within the sound and within the body, within the air, within the stomach, has a digestive force, like that. Is given to us. So let's understand. This is just, this verse and the next verse is both are together. If you go to the next verse, we'll understand this verse clearly. So it's Krishna is actually maintaining us at a personal level. How that, cosmic level is providing sunlight, moonlight, fire, electricity, everything. So that he will, help us to understand this knowledge. Now at the personal level also, how he is helping us, like that. Yeah. So we go to the next verse, Paramatma feature, you understand how they are there, like, especially that Shirodakshaya Vishnu. Yeah, I'll go through that. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivisto matra smritirjnanapohamnancha vedescha sarverahameva vedyo vedanta krit veda videva chaham. Anyone reads the translation and the purport? It's a big
Hare
purport.
Krishna Master. I'll read.
Yeah.
Translate. Shall I read the translation, Mataji, or the purport?
Yes,
Translation.
yeah. Read.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki Jai. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am known, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. Shall I read the purport, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Purport. The Supreme Lord is situated as Paramatma in everyone's heart, and it is from him that all activities are initiated. The living entity forgets everything of his past life but he has to act according to the direction of the Supreme Lord, who is witness to all his work. Therefore, he begins his work according to his past deeds. Required knowledge is supplied to him, and remembrance is given to him, and he forgets also about his past life. Thus, the Lord is not only all pervading, he is also localized in all individual heart. He awards the different fruitative results. He is worshipable not only as the impersonal Brahman, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the localized Paramatma, but as the form of the incarnation of the Vedas as well. The Vedas give the right direction to people so that they can properly mold their lives and come back to Godhead, back to home. The Vedas offer knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, and Krishna in his incarnation as Vyasadeva is the compiler of the Vedanta Sutra. The commentation on the Vedanta Sutra by Vyasadeva in the Srimad Bhagavatam gives the real understanding of Vedanta Sutra. The Supreme Lord is so full that for the deliverance of the conditioned soul, he is the supplier and digester of foodstuff, the witness of his activity, and the giver of knowledge in the form of Vedas, and as Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, the teacher of the Bhagavad Gita, he is worshipable by the conditioned soul. Thus, God is all good, God is all merciful. Ananta Pravishta Shashta Janmanam. The living entity forgets as soon as he quits his present body, but he begins his work again, initiated by the Supreme Lord. Although he forgets, the Lord gives him the intelligence to renew his work where he ended his last life. So not only does a living entity enjoy or suffer in this world according to the dictation from the Supreme Lord situated locally in the heart, but he receives the opportunity to understand the Vedas from him. If one is serious about understanding the Vedic knowledge, then Krishna gives the required intelligence. Why does he present the Vedic knowledge for understanding? Because the living entity individually needs to understand Krishna. Vedic literature confirms that yo so sarver veder katyate. In all Vedic literature, beginning from the four Vedas, Vedanta Sutra, and the Upanishads and Puranas, the glories of the Supreme Lord are celebrated. By performance of Vedic rituals, discussion of the Vedic philosophy, and the worship of the Lord in devotional service, he is attained. Therefore, the purpose of the Vedas is to understand Krishna. The Vedas give us the direction by which to understand Krishna and the process of realizing him. The ultimate goal is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vedanta Sutra 1.1.4 confirms that in the following words, Tattu Samanyavat Vayat, one can attain perfection in three stages. By understanding Vedic literature, one can understand his relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By performing, the different one can approach him, and at the end, one can attain the supreme goal, who is no other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this verse, the purpose of the Vedas, the understanding of the Vedas, and the goal of the Vedas are clearly defined. Sorry, Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. So yeah, so here, what is it? Previous verse when we understood that, what we explained, Krishna is in the form of a fire representing as a digestive system within our stomach, like that. Now he's situated in our heart also as a Paramatma. So because of that, he is situated in our heart, all moving and non-moving beings, principally, this is what, indeed, what is it coming for us is intelligence is coming to us. Yeah. So that, this intelligence is giving us, remembrance of the things of what we have experienced, and then what we are forgetting, and then the perception of what we are coming, knowledge, whatever we are trying to perceive, like that. So having these things are described now, Krishna, what he's telling is that from all the Vedas, I am to be known. I am seated in everyone's heart. And from me only, every one of us, all of us are getting remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. And then, from all the Vedas, I am to be known because he's a compiler of the Vedas and knower of the Vedas. So what happens, when we are wanting to independently enjoy in this material world, that thought process came into our mind just a fraction of second, we were given an opportunity to just come to this material world. And then at that point, without giving us forgetfulness, we won't be able to enjoy. So Krishna has provided this beautiful material world, and then he also given us forgetfulness so that we enjoy whatever we want to. And then with that, he's being as a Paramatma situating in our heart, he's always watching us, he's witnessing us. All our actions is witnessing. And then, whoever is really wanted to, that knowledge is also supplied for us. So the scriptures. And then he mentioned in the first canto also that, where after he leave this material planet, then he is going to come in the form of books. What is that verse we have? Puranarko dinoditaha. He says that, I'm there in the books, in the form of books. So he is there as a localized Paramatma in each and every individual heart. And then, just like, he is worshipable not only as impersonal Brahman, but localized Paramatma. So the three features of the Lord, right? From Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan feature. So this is like that. So, and then incarnation of the Vedas as well is there. So Vedas give us a right direction to all of us to understand properly what is our lives are meant for. And then that is the reason to achieve the goal of human life is to go back to home, back to Godhead, like that. So Vedas are offering us knowledge. Forgetfulness is offered by Krishna for us to be in this material world, and then he gave the knowledge to us through Vedas, so that we are able to understand that. And then he is Supreme Lord Krishna is an incarnation of Vyasadeva, is a compiler of Vedanta Sutra, like that. And then that that Vedanta Sutra, which is Srimad Bhagavatam, which is Amala Puranam, if you understand that, then all this conditioning to the soul is immediately been delivered, like that. So he's supplying, and then he's a supplier and digester of the food stuff, is witnessing our activities, and is giving us the knowledge in the form of Vedas also, like that. Krishna himself came as a teacher for us to teach, and Arjuna has become as a, he's representing all of us to understand this philosophy, like that, to Bhagavad Gita. And then like that, Vedas teaches he is a worshipable God for all conditions, like that. And so God is merciful because he's trying to provide all of us for all these things. But what we are doing, forgetting. We quit this body, or even in this body, we are forgetting, and we are trying to, do the things again and again, repeatedly making mistakes and getting into this again and again. But we are all forgetting, but still Krishna is kindly giving us intelligence for us to renew. Means whatever we forgot, for us to, take up through remembrance, like that. So these, we enjoy in this material world without understanding, because of the forgetful nature, independently wanting to load it over this material nature, or wanting, out of becoming ourselves as a maintainer and controller, like that kind of attitude, we are there. And then acting, but everything is being acted, we have been acting by the dictation of the Lord who is situated in our heart. So Paramatma, sometimes, if at all some child is asked a question, sometimes in a class, the child may answer or may not. Some people may answer, some not. If we also sometimes, share something, suddenly we might think later, oh, I could have shared that one, I totally forgot. So this thing is happening to us. Yeah? So, but this understanding is coming that we are forgetting that, because Krishna in our heart is revealing as and when is able to give mercy, like that. So some we may remember and we share, some we don't, but this is all coming from Krishna only. So that he is telling of all the Vedas also. I am, if someone seriously try to understand this Vedic knowledge, Krishna gives them intelligence. That is the mercy we are looking forward. So that he is present in this Vedic knowledge, and all of us needs to understand Krishna. And then he says that, from beginning from all the four Vedas, all this, Upanishads, Puranas, everything is, glorification of the Supreme Lord. So this understanding of Vedic philosophy and worshipping the Lord by taking up any process of devotional service, 9 process of devotional service is prescribed for us, starting from Shravanam, which we are all trying to do. So that is what, he says. And then, you can attain Supreme Lord. The purpose of Vedas is to understand Krishna only. So he is taking us in the right direction by this, giving this, knowledge to us. And then, the process is to realize him. And it will come to us when we take shelter of the scriptures through the parampara. That the ultimate goal is to understand Supreme Lord. So Vedanta Sutra confirms that, one can attain perfection in 3 stages. By understanding Vedic literature, one can understand the relationship with the Supreme Lord. And by performing different process, one can approach him. And at the end, one can attain the supreme goal, who is no other than Supreme Lord. So in this verse, the purpose of the Vedas is mentioned. What is the purpose of the Vedas? It is in this way we can understand it is Sambandha. We are trying to understand the relationship with the Lord. And then Abhideya, what is that? The process. The process is there, which prescribed process is that Navavidha Bhakti, 9 process of devotional service is there for us to, actively participate and, show our love to the Lord, because when we want to establish that person whom we love, we do something to please him. That is what we do through 9 process of devotional service. And then the final thing is that Abhideya, we understand that, Prayojana, we understand the goal. What is the goal of that? To attain Supreme Lord, to attain our constitutional position of being a servant of the Lord. So this is going to happen if you understand. That is the purpose of the Vedas. Through the Vedas, what we are going to do? Achieve that goal, which is attaining Supreme Lord only. Attaining those 3 stages of perfection, which is Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana, like that. So that is what it is confirmed here. So Krishna is as a Paramatma, is initiating all the activities, and as a Paramatma, he is in the living entity. He is, making us to forget everything what is in our past life, like that. But as a super soul, is witnessing all of our work and gives us remembrance and required knowledge, so that we start doing things like that. So if we take the shelter of the Vedas, we can do this, attain this perfection, get this perfection of these stages. So we get to go to Krishna. The Lord is all pervading like that. Not only, throughout the cosmic manifestation, how he was giving us all the facilities, but also in a localized form in everyone's heart, like that. Yeah. So this is what, goal of the Vedas is to, essence of the Vedas is there in this, understanding of this. And then in the next verses, it will be more clear about how this, Vedas and Vedantas will help us, all the living entities. Essence is discussed in next verses. But yeah, so how Krishna is functioning and how to appreciate Krishna's position as a maintainer of this world. How Krishna is maintaining cosmic level, and then at our, individual level also, how is he doing? This is what has been discussed here.
Tell you what is Vedanta? Vedanta Sutra is Srimad Bhagavatam, correct? Right? What is Vedanta exactly?
What is Vedanta? It is mentioned here, na? It is given here. It's a compiler of Vedanta. Vedanta is that Srimad Bhagavatam and the knower of the Vedas. Yeah, so.
Okay, that's also Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yeah.
Someone told me this is a study of
the
of demigods. Someone
Sorry?
told me that's the understanding of demigods. Somebody told me, Mataji, that is the study of demigods. That's why I want to have a clear understanding.
All the Vedas are being compiled by whom? That Vasudev only did all the 4 Vedas, yes. And then he divided, all these Vedas into different 4 categories. All coming from all 4 mouths of the Brahma is coming one Vedanta. Yeah, and then he divided into 4 Rigveda, Samaveda, Yajurveda, Atharvana Veda, and then he gave it to his disciples to spread that knowledge. And then after that is just the compiled Srimad Bhagavatam, because these are all Vedas. It is understood by demigods, means it's like that. People who have got, actually people who have got are what do we say in the Bhagavad Gita?
Because Mataji, I tell you one thing, because there was a group who were teaching only Vedanta. So they told me to join. I joined 1 or 2 classes, but then somebody told me, one devotee said, don't join that, because that is Vedanta is all about demigod worship. So don't go.
Okay.
So I stopped going.
These Vedas, especially, yeah. So that's how you came to know about that Vedanta, yeah?
Yes, that's why I want to understand it properly, Mataji.
See, these Vedas are there, na? That could be those ones, only one of those 4 Vedas someone may be doing. See, Vasudev, when he has divided these Vedas, he did instructed his disciples to spread this knowledge. Okay. So,
Yeah.
but he was also not happy after he's divided the Vedas, writing Upanishads and then, Puranas, all that. He was not happy. Then he was just dissatisfied, and then his spiritual master Narada Muni came and imparted him this knowledge, and
Yes.
he made him to write this Amala Purana, which is Srimad Bhagavatam. So that Vedanta is different to what you were came across, which is, yes, that is so, that is been each Vedas are being ruled by one of the main rishis, and then they are being looked after those Vedas. And if you read those Vedas, that enlightenment will not happen. Not it is not meant for self-realization. It is again leading us to the fruitive activities. Okay,
Yes.
that could
Okay,
be the
Mataji.
reason that that are demigods and all, they might have told you.
Yeah.
So like, yeah.
Yes.
So if you read
Yes,
the
Mataji.
way, if you read Srimad Bhagavatam, it's not leading us to perform fruitive activities. It's leading us to what? It is that Sarvadharma, and what is that in Canto?
To attain our
One,
goal.
Yeah, our dharma.
Yes.
Savai pumtam paro dharma. Yito bhakti rahetuki. Ahetuti apratiyata yatma suprasidaka. So what we are trying to do is samsiddhi haritoshanam. We are trying to please the Supreme Lord Hari, nothing else we want. And when you are pleasing Supreme Lord, we are not asking anything for our own benefit. We are wanting to do only for his pleasure and trying to do more and more to please him and to serve him. That's all. But when you follow this, other Vedas, they are again karma kandic process will come into picture. Yeah.
Yes, Mataji.
So,
Thank you, Mataji.
but Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasa is Krishna only, right? So we
Yeah.
better to better to worship.
I didn't know. Mataji, they just told me to come years back. So from that time, I
Okay.
was a bit confused. I just wanted more clarity on that.
Yeah,
That's why.
that's okay. Some people do, because this is Vasudev only told, and there must be some lineage of people reciting Vedas. It's
Yes.
there, definitely there.
Yes.
Yeah. But some complete satisfaction will not come to us.
Yes.
This has been displayed by Vasudev only, who is the incarnation of the Supreme Lord, and he only compiled Vedanta Sutra like that. Yeah.
Yeah, Mataji, thanks a lot.
No problem.
Okay,
Yeah. I've gone a little
Mataji.
over time. I'm so sorry. A little over time I've gone. Thank you for all of your patience, and Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Dandat
Thank
pranam.
you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada.
Thank you,
Mataji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Dandavad pranam.
Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. I'll stop sharing.
Mataji, I'll